There's not enough chairs.
Oh, right.
We'll have to
I'll sit
share.
in Wookiee's lap.
My
Truly
immersion.
round table.
Oh. And we need a round table, please. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Get on it.
Oh.
Have this one just kind of roll over into the floor.
Right.
Like a bat cave.
Yo,
Just saying,
I'm-
Justin, don't.
What
Yeah,
do I
you
look
don't
like
actually
to
want
you
that.
guys? Do I just have pod hands? What is that?
Yeah,
You are,
sure.
Yeah.
you're a
like
beautiful
Like
white
capsules
cube.
For,
Yeah,
hands or
exactly.
for the head.
Just like in real life. This is perfect. Okay.
How do you type?
I don't. Have you seen my game? I just slam my face into the keyboard.
The talent.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go around and should we just introduce ourselves and then I figured for maybe just to have a little structure, we'll talk menus, then inventory, and then maybe locomotion in that order, and we can just to have a rough outline.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This is
Well,
gonna
we're
go
live
first, huh?
streaming. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
World's most
Hi, people.
awkward awkward podcast. Let's go.
I don't think I've
So
been
we're all
on a
here to-
podcast with this many people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've never been. I've been on a few podcasts, but I've never been like physically had people looking at me. Like Justin right here.
My height's off for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I did. Okay.
Okay. I guess I'll go
Settle
first
down.
since I was late.
The joystick.
Sure.
If anyone doesn't know me, I go by Dima on Twitter, triple X because the rest of my name was taken. I make a game called Sushi Ben, and it's a game not about sushi. It's more like a community somewhere you like make friends and experience different like stories and stuff, your character interaction. But the reason why it's cool, other than that, is because I created like these cool like 3D manga panels that you can like that add more like film language to VR stuff. Because a lot of times in narratives you don't get extreme close-ups, or you don't get insert shots of someone's hand squeezing or flashbacks or any of that cool stuff that we've developed over like 100 years of film. So I came up with this idea to create these like 3D panels that kind of just add some of that back to VR and keep the narratives more interesting and engaging. And yeah, that's about it.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. I'm Johnny. I'm a software engineer and game designer. I guess I'm the CEO of Weird Kid Studios. I guess it's not. I guess, but I launched my game Galactic Bar Fight a few months ago on the App Lab, and it just passed 9,000 downloads a few weeks ago.
Nice.
Damn, congrats, dude.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank
Nice.
you. Thank you.
That's cool.
And yeah, I'm super excited. I thought barely 100 people would play it, so 9,000 is unthinkable. That's been really cool. And next
Awesome.
month, I plan on releasing a very much needed but long awaited update. And it's going to add like a bunch of new weapons, power ups. It's going to actually have like objectives that players can do, all sorts of stuff. So I had basically spent the last 4 months rebuilding the game from the ground up, and we finally got to the point where I could create new features. So yeah, but that's about it.
Nice.
Sweet.
Cool. All right, so I'm Justin of Tab Games. You guys probably know me from making my game Samurai Slaughterhouse, the black and white comic one with the blood flying everywhere and
Yeah,
everything.
so much
Yeah.
fun.
And yeah, I've been working on that. I started the original prototype in September of last year, and that's the one that's on like Itch and what's the subscription one? Viveport Infinity. And
Can't forget
that
that.
one, I worked on that up until about February, and then everything I kind of took from that, some stuff that was just like ridiculous, like it was like, what was I thinking when I put that in there? So I kind of took that, restarted again from scratch, pretty much like you did with this game, starting in March, and that's what you guys were playing. You got to play the demo of, And right now, that's not publicly available, but I'm working towards a 9/15 early access. So
Cool.
that'll be on Patreon. You can get do the membership to get access to it, or I'm also going to put it on itch.io if you just want to buy it outright instead of doing like a membership thing. So you have your options.
Cool. I finally tried your demo, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah, how'd you like it?
Yeah, dude, the music is sick though. That was like my favorite part. Did you
Oh,
do
thanks.
the music for your game or whatever?
Yes, I produced the music too.
Wow.
That I just started. I mean, I played in bands before, so I know a little about
Mhm.
making music. But as far as like producing music, I kind of did it for the game because my budget's pretty limited. And then
Mhm.
I found out like this guy was like, "Oh, I'll give you a great deal, just like $50 per song." And I'm like, "Whoa." For
Oh.
4 songs, that's already like, like how many models I can buy for $200.
Fair. Very fair.
I ended up just getting the software. I got like a humble bundle that gives you like all the software, and then
Mhm.
just started buying samples and started mixing stuff. So save money
That's awesome.
and ended up learning a new skill, kind of having some fun with
Wow.
it. So yeah,
Dude, I mean, it's good. Like, it's good. Like, I'm pretty picky. I thought it was sick, man.
thanks.
You guys haven't heard it? Definitely go find some of his music on Twitter.
Oh yeah, it's on all the streaming services.
Oh yeah, it's on all the
Yeah.
ones like the Amazon Music, the
Yeah, the
Spotify,
Amazon Music.
iTunes. Yeah, it's on all that.
He did a podcast episode with us, and I put his music into our episode. and made it.
Ah,
Oh, nice.
yeah, super cool, man.
Thanks.
Sweet.
What's up, Robert?
My turn, I guess.
Yeah.
Robert Aldridge. I'm CEO of Big Top Game Studio. Released a game on App Lab called Medieval Designer. It's a rather simple experience
Oh.
where you just, make things like you decorate houses and stuff. Releasing an update soon where you'll be able to design an entire town actually, which is gonna be pretty cool. Didn't think I'd be able to do it on the hardware, but it's working pretty good. So
Yeah, I know that feel right now.
Right.
yeah, super optimization,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now we're working on another game since I got funding because of Medieval Designer. Working on a full-scale RPG now, so
Ah, congrats.
Heartland's
Nice.
due out later this year, around probably December.
Awesome. Yeah, wait. And speaking of medieval designer, Fletcher, Jason, you got a free code for you for it? Hit me up.
Sweet.
Nice.
I'm
Go
Wookie.
for it.
I'm co-host of this stuff right up in here. That's pretty much it. And as far as this aspect goes, I'm pleased to meet you all. Some of you I've talked to, some of you I haven't yet. That'll
All
do.
right. I'm PJ, co-host with Wookie of the Via Verdict podcast. Almost half of the people here have been on an episode. The rest you got to get on, coming soon. Johnny's scheduled. But yeah, we're just
Nice.
here to host you guys as game devs to talk about some best practices / like options for menus and inventory and all the fun stuff VR brings with it. So just having a little discussion all together and see what happens.
Yeah. It could be a disaster, but if I'm
Yeah, I
involved
thought
in it.
maybe just start with menus and just start throwing ideas against the wall and see what sticks, what you guys like and don't like, or
Everybody else going to introduce themselves?
oh,
Stopping at you. There's a few more here.
if you guys want to get up on stage and introduce yourselves, feel free. Everyone here, no.
I'm Justin. If whoever doesn't know me, I'm co-founder and CEO of Spatial Ape, the app you're in right now. So I just wanted to
Oh,
stop by and make sure everything's working okay.
Yeah, we did that call recently, right?
We absolutely did.
Yeah, I space hop. I'm sorry. Just miracle anything gets made.
Creative types.
This is cool.
No, I'm just
glad to
kidding.
actually be in here.
That's my coffee.
Yeah, so we're all pretty much
Then-
working on our menus. Except for Robert here, he actually finished the game. So, what do you got?
Yeah.
Any best advice for us on menus? Especially as your game, I imagine has a lot of menus. I haven't got a chance to play it, but I've
It's
seen clips on it.
I'll use my stupid joke that I consider my menu system and like the inventory system in general revolutionary because it revolves around the player.
Oh, wow.
Literally.
Oh.
Yeah, literally, it's revolutionary. Yeah. So it's you press a button and it flies out around the player and it's like categories. I didn't want to do anything flat. I didn't want like bubbles or anything like that. I wanted like a tiny representation of everything, and then you can grab it and it'll blow up into something larger. It's which is seemingly becoming more and more common. But I like to think that I was one of the first to do it.
I like that type of menu for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot more sense than like, I mean, to be honest, the entire thing started as like a tech demo of how I could destroy laser pointers because I hate them.
God. Yeah, I was trying to not do like in my game. I don't even have any menus. I don't think yet, but yeah, I've definitely been trying to avoid doing like laser pointer stuff. I want it to be more
anything
tactile.
flat is just bad in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe if it fits in stylistically, it could be. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like a TV screen or something somewhere, or like an actual like in the new game in Heartlands, like to like actually look at your skills, you have to open up a scroll and look at the scroll, and that makes perfect sense because it's flat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
But-
I was gonna.
Go ahead.
I'm pretty against. I guess laser pointers too, and in Galactic Bar 5, I've been mainly using like hologram consoles. Like that's basically
That's
been
pretty
kind
cool.
of like my way to like kind of incorporating traditional UI, but also trying to make it like feel like it's relevant to the actual world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played. I just said it and I already forgot it.
Medieval designer.
Medieval Designer, and I give you props because there is nothing like playing a VR game, hitting the menu button, and even Half-Life Alyx has this issue, and then a big flat screen pops up in your face. You're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm playing a game. I'm in VR. Like, where's your system?
Mhm.
Like you said, pops up around you. It doesn't break immersion.
It has categories.
Fantastic.
You can grab them. You can
Yep.
rotate the categories around yourself. You can go up and down like vertically, or horizontally. It's pretty good. And it works so well for the gameplay. It's like The Sims build mode in VR.
Yeah.
I think that is a good
I'll
system
say,
too,
like-
where you have like the items small and then you grab them out and they grow bigger. Like that's kind
Yeah,
of you see
yeah.
that.
So
in,
like if you wanted to like decorate an area that had like this table, right? You open up your inventory and you have a category for tables. You grab the table and put it down. You'd have a section for like dishes or whatever, and you'd grab a coffee cup and just put it down. And, yeah, it works really well.
It's also comical sometimes because in the game, like he has bookshelves that are the size of bookshelves, and you pull that out of the menu, and it just bam, there's a bookshelf. You're like, oh,
Yeah, it's like right in front of you.
Giant
Yeah, I
raft
definitely
inside.
Some of
remember
my
seeing
pivot
that.
points, I admit, are not great. You pull it
I
out and
dig
it's
it.
like right inside the player. It's not great.
Yeah.
Hey, I
But,
built it in 11 months as one person. What can I say?
yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing about VR menus, from my point of view, as just a gamer or whatever, is just snappiness. Like your menu, very snappy, very quick. There's nothing like hitting the menu button in the game like chugs to a stop.
I'm
and then
glad
the
you think
menu
so.
opens. I
I've
think
had so many issues where like I spent like 6 months optimizing assets just because it wasn't smooth at all. Like I would notice like a half a millisecond delay and it was just not good. So I'm glad you think it's good.
Yeah. Optimization is always fun, right?
Yeah.
Especially on the Quest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially on
This
the
thing's a potato.
right.
Oh,
No
God.
GPU.
Yeah.
Dude, I just
I'm
wish
pretty
I
happy
could
with the
use
points
like.
we were able to get out of it so far.
I just wish for artistically, I wish I could just use post processing and stuff.
Right.
Did you guys see
Fine.
the tone mapping thing that the Quest developer thing put out today?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was sick.
It looks really nice.
Yeah.
Like I might actually be able to have a day-night cycle using that.
Yeah, yeah, you could get away with a lot of stuff with that, I think, and it seems really
Yeah,
cool.
I think so. Like
Yeah.
that or like magic effects, like an RPG. Of course, you're gonna get hit by fireballs. Just tint the whole screen red. Ooh, it's gonna be good.
Oh, I
Looking
need
forward
that.
to it. Yeah, they just posted
Yeah.
it today on the blog.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be pretty handy. Like, even just for like making the colors look better from your textures.
Yeah,
and
just
stuff.
making the colors pop some.
Yeah. Because
I like things to be very bright and colorful myself. I'm
Yeah,
colorblind, so
exactly.
you know.
yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to do that without having something like that.
Yeah.
So my game relies on like post process and the tone mapper heavily to make my textures look good together and stuff. So it's definitely exciting for us developers.
Yeah, definitely.
Although Justin's game is quite colorless.
Right.
Yeah. Still relies on like a
Maybe-
lot of effects
maybe-
though. Especially the shadows. Like I got pretty lucky because the material I use without real time shadows, it can kind of like use a single like directional light to kind of fake its own shadows. So
Mhm.
like the objects aren't just like a big old white field. Like they
Are you
actually
using
use
like a blend Phong kind of method
I don't even
for
know.
your
what it's
materials?
called.
it-
Or you?
It's
I
like a
bought
dot
it from the
product
asset
that's
store.
probably like.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
you know,
well-
if you did like a fake cell shader, it's like a dot product that takes the vectors from the sun direction and then gives it a self shaded.
Yeah, exactly. Something
Yeah,
like
I'd be
that.
super interested
Yeah.
to find out like how you guys are doing your shaders, like in general.
Mhm.
Like what are your average instruction counts? That's kind of off the topic of
Mm,
UIs and
mine's-
stuff.
Mine are pretty low. Like, I think I have this like the super complex shader for my manga panels is like, I think only 400, and that's like compared to like just the default shader in Unreal, the default
Yeah.
is like 700 or something ridiculous. if
Yeah,
you
it's
use all
really
this stuff.
high. Are
But my
you
base,
using like fully rough and all that too?
yeah, it's everything in my game is fully rough, as flat as possible. I don't use any normal maps. Any of that
Yeah,
type of
same.
detail is like modeled.
Like most of my materials, I've gotten down to like 127 at most.
Yeah, that's like my
Yeah.
base materials like that as well. Yeah.
And there's also something going on with the Oculus build of Unreal because it reduces the instruction counts by like 40 on every material. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
either.
they have. I can't remember off the top of my head what they've done, but yeah, they do a lot of interesting stuff for optimization.
I'm using
and their
unlit for
developer
everything
builds.
and then putting a Fresnel effect on everything in order to actually give it fake depth.
Yeah, that's a good trick.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, tech artists, man, come on. I can't program anything, but I can make your game look pretty. So it's...
I'm like the jack of all trades, master of none. Like,
Yeah, I kind of do a
can't-
little bit of everything.
I can't make music, so
That's on
So,
my
like,
to-do list is to make like I want to make a dubstep album at some point in my life.
that's
and
on
if
my
you
bucket
make it
list
like
as
for
well.
a game, then you can like I'm still game developing even though I'm producing music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give it a reason.
So, are all three of you solo devs, or
Yeah, I'm just working by myself.
That's,
Besides what-
you're
that's
by
a
yourself?
difficult kind
Bye-bye.
of question. I mean,
Well, I mean, like
Sort of.
for you did the
so
last game
Medieval
you've been talking
Designer
about
was
by
100% me. I worked
Yeah.
10 to 14 hours a day for 11 to 13 months, depending on
Jeez.
where I put the timeline at. It was COVID. I had nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Much to my wife's dismay, I worked like 10 to 14 hours a day to get the entire thing done. But then, even though Medieval Designer hasn't sold well because it's a very niche product, and I was very aware of that from the start, but
Mhm.
I wanted to make something, so I did. It got me funding for the next game, which allowed me to hire one other designer. So
Mhm.
it's something.
Is that funding from just like sale? If you're okay with asking, is that funding from just like sales, or did you get funding from like another source, or?
Oh, it was funding from an outside investor.
Okay,
Like
cool.
it was someone that I know, and I was
Mhm.
showing it to him, and he was like, "Holy shit, this is incredible! You did this in 11 months by yourself. What the hell could you do if you had another person?" I was like, "Well, let's find out." And we kind of hashed out the details.
That's cool, man.
I mean,
Nice.
Medieval Designer cost $80,000 to make, and it has not made that. I'll tell you that. Not
I
even
mean,
close.
Games are expensive, like insanely expensive to make. It is
Incredibly,
like
yeah. A lot of people have no idea how expensive games are to make.
80,000 is actually cheap. It's like-
Yeah, it is
That's
extremely.
like bonkers.
Going
What's
back
that
to the
sound?
topic
I
of
keep hearing like a weird...
That's my phone.
His phone.
Oh, I was like, man, what's that?
Kind of like
Going
a
back to the
bird, too.
topic of menus, you guys said
No,
you're
sorry.
like against the flat menus and stuff like that. No
Mhm.
worries. One thing that I thought was weird in VR, and I've seen a lot of like old school desktops try to make like you have a room and you click on the file cabinet instead of opening the folder.
Right.
Where's the balance when you have, like you said, you have Scrolls in your Heartlands game coming up?
Yeah.
And that seems cool, but I think there's a lot of games out there where like they give you a book. I'm not going to name names to make anybody feel bad about nothing, but like
Yeah,
a book,
there's-
and it's like you page through it, and it's
There's
kinda
a
like,
level where it's too much. Like it still needs
Right.
to be.
Yeah.
It needs to feel
Concise,
nice, but it
quick.
also needs to be gamified in a way.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
it needs
you
yeah,
can't
gamifying
gamifying is
making
good
I
word.
think Saints and Sinners found a good balance with that because they had like that journal that you hold, but it still had like things that you like
Yeah.
pushed in. If you weren't flipping through it, there was like tabs, so kind of a
Yeah.
little bit of a compromise.
Oh, yeah. Actually, someone from that game is actually probably joining my team soon. One of the
Oh,
AI
that's awesome.
character
That's pretty
AIs.
sick.
Yeah,
Awesome.
But,
that's
like
gonna be fun.
the one game I was talking about, like you got a notebook, and you got to like, oh wait, you can you can open it, and you can have it like floating there, and you're like, how do I cast this spell?
Mhm.
And it's just like, fuck it.
Right.
At that point, I would welcome a flat menu, and I hate as much as I
Right.
would hate to say
Yeah.
that because
Mhm.
you know when you were on our podcast when you were talking about Medieval Designer, you know I lamented the fact like Witcher 3 flat game, great game, but like you open up the menu in that game after you've been playing it for like 2 days, and there's like 8 million things in your inventory, and it's like, well, I guess I'm gonna wait 30 seconds. Like I hate that too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
I think that there's only so much you can do with it, but like, I feel like just menus that you want to put like your system settings in and stuff like that, not like inventories, right? But like, just I feel like it's okay to do flat stuff for some of that because if you're doing this like complex, like convoluted thing just to change your
Snap
teleport
turns
setting or
settings,
snap turns,
right.
it's really to
Right.
me it seems like it's
Yeah. Like
it's like over.
that's one of
It'd
the
be
things I've been
overdone.
struggling with actually is a way to actually solve that. Like one of the things I want to bring in so badly for Medieval Designer as an update is like the next update's gonna have a snapping mode, right, for snapping objects to a grid. But I don't have a good way for the player to determine what that snap is without using some kind of flat menu or something.
Mhm.
You know, like they could use. I guess I could use like trigger pulls or something like that, but it doesn't feel good. Another one is like skin color of like hands. The player should be able to change their hand color,
Mhm. Yeah.
but it's not something that like what do I do? Just like have hands and you can grab a hand color? Like it feels weird.
Right. Yeah.
Could be
Another
interesting.
Just
game.
having
Shake
floated
hands.
hands. I don't know.
Another game that PJ introduced me to the other day was like completely all the artistic inventory. So I walked in the character creator, and it took me about 3 hours to figure the fucking thing out. Sorry for swearing. But it's sitting there like, oh, there's a knob here. I can get more options for my shirts and
Right.
shit. And I didn't know it was a fucking knob. And it's like, it was looking cool. Like, hey, I like the options. The art style's good. But I'm like, give me my, and like you try to take this thing and like the vest flies off. I'm like, where did the
Right.
vest?
Yeah, I think I know what game you're talking about. I had the same experience.
And it was like, okay. And then we try to merge in. I'm like, I have a default random wrong character. That's not what I just made. That's not what I spent 3 hours making. So it's like, what the hell? And there was like no help at all. The only help was like when you enter the world, it had this like little icon, like a flat drawn icon of like slam a bowl of soup in your face. I was like, oh, okay. We figured that out. I think PJ had that one.
Right.
That one was awesome, but still too much. When you say your game, Medieval Designer, which is, you said you started that, correct me if I'm wrong, was like a experiment on how to make the best menu possible.
Yeah.
And it cost you 80 grand just to do that. Just for the menu.
Part of the a lot of it was just time investment in assets, but
Mhm.
to be fair, a lot of that it's really about how much people like to move in real life.
Mhm.
Like my entire house is controlled by Google because I don't want to get up and touch my light switch at all ever. Like when I walk into my office, I have a presence sensor and it just turns on automatically. I don't want to deal with light switches. Humans are innately lazy. So if you gotta like walk over to something and flip a lever in order to change your hairstyle, no one wants to do that. Which is why it makes sense if it's something closer like a backpack or like my system around yourself. It's a balancing act. You can't do everything realistic,
I
or
definitely.
knob based or levers.
It
It's a
kind of
hard act,
reminds
though.
me.
I mean,
It kind of reminds me of like I used to work in mobile games, and you would try to make sure people could execute a thing based on the least amount of input as possible, right? Like you swipe a thing, you tap a thing, you pinch a thing, right? But you want to make sure they move as little as possible to execute a thing. And I try to keep that in mind because especially in VR, right? I kind of feel like VR kind of is demanding, right? And I feel like you have to ask, like you're asking your users to be present and to understand, to kind of have a level of control. And in order to have that level of control, I feel like you have to make the connection between what I want you to do and what that accomplishes as small as possible, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I think we're still so early as an industry that it's really hard to. We haven't really figured out yet what the right answer is. Like an example that I've been thinking about a lot is the next thing I want to make is a shooter after Heartlands, and like one thing that I hate in every shooter that's out right now is like you have to walk up and like manually grab ammo. That doesn't feel good. Not to me, at least. Like reloading manually is fucking phenomenal. I love it. You know, slapping out a magazine and putting it. It's fantastic. But like bending down on the ground or finding an ammo crate, it doesn't feel good at all. And I think we're still figuring that out as like an industry, especially as indies. You know.
That's like the most annoying thing about VR, like developing for me, is there's so many preferences. Everybody's got their own little thing that they don't. I don't like picking up the ammo. I don't like flipping like switches, you know. I like, you know, there's that guy, you know, who loves the feeling of picking up ammo, and he's just like,
yeah, I'm sure there is. I mean, it would be great, you know, if we could design for every possible situation, you know, like have an option to turn it on and off, but especially as indies, it's not exactly like we have the budget for that, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, it's like...
How do you give them both?
So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, we definitely could give people both, but it's budget.
From a gamer's perspective, I'm just going to ask you guys, how hard is it, for example, picking up ammo? So there's ammo laying on the ground, point at it, pull the grip button, it floats to my hand. Having that and being able to bend over and pick it up. Like, how much work is it just to do those two things?
It's just a raycast, really. I mean, it's
not most of us are doing that already. Like, most of us already have some kind of, like, pull-in system. You know, you just extend the range of that.
Because with the first thing that popped into my head when you guys were, hey, we should talk about all this stuff is, and I know, like, it takes time and effort and money, but the more things you can, like, the more preferences you can include, because what I would hate is for someone to make a game and have someone with a disability not be able to play it because of something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
So it's where do you draw that line that it can accommodate most people, or you know, that's. I don't know what you guys think of that.
I mean, I think you should do as much as you can. I mean, as much as you financially can, and given your time constraint, like.
And a lot of the things people ask for aren't that hard. Like if someone needs a height adjustment, you know, you can change the size of the character's capsule collider. There's like different ways to do it, but most of the stuff people want isn't that hard. Like changing the rotation speed or snap turn angle. It's a lot. I find a lot of times developers just forget to add it, and it'll be like, oh, day one or day two patch, we added smooth turning.
And they forget it because it's their preference and how they enjoy, you know, using VR, because they don't like it the same way as everyone else, and so. You know, it gets messy. You just have to
you assume like I like this kind of turning, so I think everyone is, but you know, everyone has preferences.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly made that mistake with Medieval Designer. Like, I disabled like teleportation altogether because I think it's the worst thing ever. But that's my preference, you know. And I've had several people like, "Why is there no teleportation? The smooth motion makes me sick." And of course, I should have left it in, but you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the same way, but. No, you go, Johnny.
I was just going to say I was the opposite, right? Like, smooth motion made me motion sick for the longest time. So when I launched Galactic Barfight, it was teleport only. And of course, the reviews were like, well, why can't we do smooth motion? And it's like, well, all right, I guess we got to figure that out.
Yeah, how can you develop for something if it makes you sick, right? It's like,
right.
I mean, when I first started out in VR a few years ago, like, I made myself sick for at least a good day of just trying to adjust my smooth turning, you know, and I was done. Like I couldn't do anything the whole day.
And there's a problem I face as a gamer, designing other things. I don't design games currently, but designing other things. But it's the expectation of something doesn't line up to where like this is what I thought it should be. So you know,
Oh, that's the
think it
eternal
was-
struggle.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
it
like
was
the
Payday.
biggest struggle as a game dev ever. It's like,
Yeah, Payday 2
As any
came
kind
out.
of creative. Yeah.
Right. Payday 2 came out, had VR add-ons, had some cool kinematics in the arms and stuff. I was like, this is pretty sweet. The worst movement bug game, and somebody made a mod to fix the controls, and the mod didn't work, and I never played it. Because I couldn't, something was really, I don't remember exactly what, but it was a sweet game, because you're picking up like the body duffel bags and stuff like that, and then suddenly I
Yeah.
couldn't move, and I was like, I ain't got 30 minutes to debug their game, and I feel bad for
Right.
people that have spent like 18 months debugging a game, but it's
Right.
a really hard thing. And their menu was terrible.
Oh,
Sorry, Payday 2. But
Yeah, I like that game, but I think that's kind of like too with like Elder Scrolls, where it's like games weren't originally made for VR. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
always
a huge
transfer over
argument
one
of
to
mine.
one.
Yeah.
Like you go to Elder Scrolls, like you're looking through all these menus, and you're like, oh man, do I really want to carry all this stuff? Like, it's already annoying having to decide if something's too heavy to carry, like normally. But when you're in VR, you're like, oh man, this is so much. Like,
yeah,
I just want to like shoot arrows at things.
Yeah,
Mhm.
any game that takes like I can't think of a bad one in VR yet, but like Division 2 from Ubisoft. Anytime you play that game, it's like 45 minutes of inventory messing
Right.
around, like picking it, selling it. It's like I just want to play and shoot stuff, like you said. In
Or
VR, I
that's-
haven't had anything that bad, but that would be even worse. So
well, that's because those games are designed to keep you in the maze to get the cheese. Like, I don't want to pick
Yeah.
up the same gun 55 fucking times and have to figure out which one I should keep. Fuck that.
Which one
And a
has
lot of
better
VR games
stats?
aren't. Yeah, they're not abusive to players like that yet. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But
Right.
like, yeah, that gets me every time. And the weight thing, and it's sort of like, why do I need to pick everything up? How do you break the like? Is the inventory the problem, or is the human brain that says I need to pick up every wheel of cheese, and every potion I ever get? I'm going to save it till I really need it, which means I'm never going to use one. And then I have 30,000 potions weighing me down. And like, can you in VR? Can we change how people think about the game, and then use that help drive the menu, the
I mean,
needed menu?
You could do that with like a physically based thing, right? Where you like,
Yeah.
one of the early ideas I had was like, oh, you could have like a magical chest on your back, and you could take it out and open it up, and you could only carry what you could carry in that chest.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried that, and it didn't feel good at all.
Yeah.
But it's a playstyle thing too, though. You know, like because like when I play like an Elder Scrolls game, like believe it or not, the core of that game, the core of every good RPG, is run through dungeons, kill stuff, and pick up everything so you can sell it back in the city. You know,
Yep.
that's the core of
Yeah.
every good RPG. So you know, but how do you deal with limitations? You know, and the limitations of like weight and like number based. It was all big. It was always because of hardware. You know, But, like right now, that's not a problem. Even on the Quest 2, you know, like my inventory system has 2,000 items in it, and it's fine on the Quest. You know, it's a balancing act, like everything else. Everything in computers, it depends. You know.
I think that's what Saints and Sinners did really well too, right? Those like slots on the backpack. Like I
Yeah.
thought that was really clever.
Yeah, that was a good one. I was thinking that might be, you know, one of the things in the future that's kind of like VR standard. Like there's certain things that like, you know, if you play a first person shooter, you know, like the left trigger or the right mouse button is going to zoom in, or like hold the gun steady and the other button's going to shoot, and there's probably a melee button,
Yes.
probably a grenade button. So like there's things that just, and before there
Yeah.
wasn't all of those. Before you had to like switch to your knife or your hands to punch people, or pick your grenade as a weapon. So those are just kind of things that evolved. And I think with VR, we're still in that infancy stage. We don't have those standards yet, but I think we have some. There's already some good examples that we could start like learning from. I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking
So, but-
of,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask Justin something. Speaking of punching, can I damage people in your game by punching them?
No, right now there's no damages from punching, and that's mainly just because I wanted it to be a weapons-based game. But you can
because
hit them with all kinds of things. You could pick up like rocks. off
scabbard
floor and
works
hit people
really
with them, and
I keep.
Does
One other question about that. I can't. Why does my sword keep flying out of my hand?
oh, that's a glitch with the sword sheath.
Oh,
When
okay.
it
'cause I
creates the
keep, like-
joints, it's creating one along the wrong axis, and it's flying out. So that's something I'm trying to fix.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to punch people because I kept losing my sword, and I was like, I
Yeah,
just wanna-
that's how I found out the scabbard works really well, because my sword went flying. So I'm like, here I am.
Whacking people.
It's a legitimate technique.
Yep.
Hey, please do it.
And once you kill like one of them, they all start like dropping their swords, so you can just find swords everywhere.
You chuck them.
But yeah, to your point, Justin, I think like maybe I'm wrong, but I'm a gamer, so VR has grip buttons and triggers on the controllers, and in my mind, grip button should always be grip no matter what the hell's going on. There are some games that make the trigger a grip. It's like, what the hell is this? That's one standard I would like just across the board no matter what.
I mean,
Unless
technically,
your
it's a
game
standard
is
with
like-
Oculus. Like, it's part of their VRCs. That it's supposed to be, to the grip button.
Well, when
That's
Unreal
interesting.
first, like I know at least in Unreal's case, when they first started doing VR on their engine, the triggers were the grip or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's the
But
first time I ever used
How do you
VR. So I
slam
got
your fists on the table and look at those people and say, fuck you?
So that was early on, and feel that they were just using default like the Unreal, whatever they had it bound to at the time. Because I know that's what I was used to after developing that way for a while. And I felt so weird acting triggers. I mean, the
I
grip
think aren't the
button.
Vive controllers? They only have the triggers. Maybe that's why they had it like that.
Could be.
Well, the Vive button, the Vive
original
controllers
wands.
have the grips too.
Okay.
With the wands. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're crappy grips, but they do have.
Oh,
them.
it's the face buttons. They don't have as many face buttons. I
Well,
remember
no,
there
it's
was
like
something weird when I was doing the
it's
binding.
not great. Oh,
So-
actually, real quick, what are you two developing on? We're both on Unreal. What about you two?
We're on Unity,
Unity.
I think.
Yeah.
Unity.
Unity.
One thing about the standards, though, is like going back to a little bit of flat gaming. So when Xbox released their Elite controller, it took me a few months to get used to it, but suddenly, like, was it Black Ops 3? We're running up the walls, didn't have to like move your thumb off of the joystick and hit a button. And I was like, that needs to be a thing, because you stop looking around to hit jump and then you can't look. But I got so good at mapping the controls, like I know which paddle I like to sprint and which paddle on the back I like to run. How come that isn't like how come Xbox or Oculus doesn't pop up a thing and it's like, what fucking button do you want to do what fucking thing? And we'll just
Right.
make that happen for you. And then don't put that crap on the gamer. How do we get people to do that crap? Because I would love it for Xbox. Say, hey, you want to set up your advanced controller? Here's all your options. Here's all the types of things most games have. You just pick what you want, and we'll do the rest. And
I think it's because we're just still so new in the medium, Like, Oculus is just now supporting OpenXR, I mean, it's not...
Finally, thank you.
Yeah, it's going to take some time.
that's your
I know with
there's
Steam
some
VR
sharing.
they actually have that where you can manually remap the controls. But again, like it's up to the developer to set up Steam actions for that. So if the developer doesn't set them up nicely or they give them weird names, like it could be hard for the user. But in
It's-
theory, like Steam VR, you should be able to like do it yourself.
Yeah, that's a problem. And that's like, again, somebody's going to make a game. If I have to go through red tape to get a game out as an indie dev, I'm probably just going to give up before I get that far. I could have a wonderful thing over here that just works, and then I didn't pass the procedures and the tech manual and then the 80 pages of stuff because, again, you've already spent 11 months making a game. So I get it, but it's also like, got to be an easier way. I guess,
Yeah.
are we the ones figuring out the easier way here? I don't know.
Yeah, you guys,
Posing that
gamers,
question.
let us know what you.
Well, so saying that, as a gamer, if I said to you all, so okay, I load up your game. I'm at the maybe a little character menu, waving at myself in a mirror or something, and you would have something. Hey, what button would you like to press to jump? And I hit it, and crouch, and so forth and so on. Like, how hard would that be? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Right, because like when Halo launched, and the first thing is like the very first old school Halo, kind of dating ourselves here, but like Master Chief wakes up out of the thing, and you always do that calibration shit.
Yeah.
And right then and there, you could be like, instead of push this button to jump, training you how to play, it's like push a button to jump, and then you push it and you jump. It's like, are you sure you like that button? Is that your jump button? And you could be.
I
mapping
mean,
it
we
right
definitely
there.
could do that. Like in Unreal, I'm thinking about right now how easy that would be to do. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just something. It's something I've never thought about. I mean, because you
Right.
have. I mean, honestly, I think I know what's best for like sometimes
For your game.
I don't want to overstep here, but like sometimes gamers think they want something that they don't actually want.
Yep. Well, everyone's like that, yeah. But sometimes
Yeah.
people just need it.
And so, like, button presses, yeah, in VR, everything, like, some games you don't even use buttons, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's, even for, like, controlling and, like, turning and all that stuff, like, just the more options, the better, and I know, like we said, it takes time and effort.
Well, everything
Yeah, I
needs
know
to
like
be-
some lefties they want the like joystick swaps, so like that's
Yeah.
one thing like we just don't think of, but in actuality isn't that hard to add in.
No, it's something we could definitely implement. I mean, like swapping like the inventory button is something I never thought about actually allowing the player to do because why? But I mean,
Right.
it's something I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to do.
And I'm coming at it from like old school. When I was real young, first MMOs I played were like Star Wars Galaxies. Dumbly opened up a scripting language right there in the game. So here's young Wookiee in between classes. I went to Full Sail for like 3D game design. In between classes, I'm sitting there writing scripts. That's while the game's playing itself, auto leveling everything up because they did it wrong, and I fixed it. So I started giving other people my scripts, and they would give me in-game money. So
Nice.
when you say like gamers are like they don't always know what they want, but then like PJ here, if we play, I think GTA has some control schemes because PJ plays like Southpaw or something. When this idiot used to play Nintendo 64. So you play Nintendo 64. Imagine you're if you guys have played that one again, dating yourselves. Left hand usually goes on the big middle thing, and then right hand on the other thing, and you have buttons. This idiot was
No
using
L
his
button.
thumb. No L button, yeah. This idiot was using his thumb and his index finger to pinch the top of the joystick. Instead of just using your thumb, he's using his other, these weird fingers. I'm like, the hell is this?
And I could kick anyone's ass in any game. For the most part.
Maybe. We should have recorded Smash Bros. Back in the... Anyway, but when we play, like, Grand Theft Auto, there's a Southpaw, and can you explain, like, how it, like, you can't play the game for some odd reason sometimes? Like, you need the stick on the other side. or something.
GTA is so convoluted with, and they do a
Right.
great job for what they have, but like every buttons a what you can call it trigger for something else to do
Context
something.
button,
So like
depending on what you're looking at and shit.
before the Elite controller was the thing, which is like the most amazing thing as a gamer I've ever had. Like I can take just take Halo. I can play normal controls and I can keep up and stay top of the room, but when I have it set up the way I want it, like I'll dominate.
Right.
I
And
mean,
it's just completely backwards.
that's the thing. Like, as a gamer, PJ will play, and I have a problem. Like some folks, I haven't quite gotten to test the games you've given PJ's the build for, because like I don't know what the best way to describe it is. Like if I get into a control scheme of a game, I gotta like kind of like go wade out into the middle of the lake and like feel the temperature. I'll hone in and like be able to snipe people running full speed like across the horizontal thing. I'll just be like, but I have to be playing the game for a while. And PJ will be like, hey, we just got good at this one. What about this next game? And it's like, I'm garbage for like a week. And then I just slowly become unstoppable.
Right.
And I have to be.
I mean,
in
I
that
think that happens to all of us, doesn't it?
Right. But it's real bad for me. Like, I will play a game for 5 minutes, and if I'm not getting it, I'm like, why don't I just go play that game I was already good at? And then PJ's got like 10 games under his belt, and I have one game for like 20 years.
Yeah, I can only do one game at a time, or I'll never.
Right.
Can't do.
A lot of it to me is that control scheme. So if we have stuff like the Elite controller or whatever, where you have the system would know what your preference is and how to play. That takes off that level of translation that your brain has to do.
Right.
Where I'm just going.
I mean, like if you want a system level feature or something like that, it's something that Oculus could 100% do, or I guess Steam could 100% do. But I mean, that's not something where we can really do.
I know.
you
I'm just saying, like, how do we think that way? I'm just posing
I
those
get it.
questions because
I would be.
I mean,
excited
it's
for them to
definitely
add
something they
that
could
to the
do,
rest
but
of
it's
games.
it's
Yeah.
like it's an access kind of thing that we don't really have.
Right. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, from like the point of accessibility, I know in Galactic Barfight, I kind of wanted to, because like you can shoot guns or there's melee weapons, and when it came to swinging the melee weapons, I've learned like if you poke an enemy with a laser sword and they die, that's not satisfying. right? Like,
No.
and that's what I've learned. But I've learned like there's a momentum, and I think there's a minimum momentum everybody expects. And I kind of wanted to experiment with like having people swing and figure out like, okay, I'm going to detect an average like velocity of the swing, and then try to set that as the value you have to match whenever you swing again. If
No,
that
that's
makes
we're
sense.
doing
Yeah.
something kind of similar for like weapon
That's-
repair, actually. Like
That's
the
awesome.
amount of force when you raise your hand up to swing the hammer on like an anvil is something similar to that.
See, I was like,
That's a
again,
good
I
idea
don't-
because on my game too, I have like because you could do it two ways. Like you can either check the speed of it, or there's also, I think, if you're using like colliders, you can not triggers. You can use a collider, and then I think it's force of the collision or something like that. And so I did that to my own personal feel, but who knows? Like you're saying, players might have a different strength that they want to swing, or they might want to go crazy with it, and it would only stab the person if they're really hitting hard. So that's a good idea to have it like configurable based on the player.
Yeah.
Still need to
that's the man
experiment
right
with.
there.
That still need to play with. Yeah, it's an
it's-
idea.
But it's cool. Learning how the player plays and then adapting to how the player goes, because I automate stuff for a living at where I work and where I have worked, and all I ever get is like, oh, we have this huge problem, and all I ever get is like, I have to be very creative and say, what do I have available, and then I fill that gap with like a cement dam, because I have to I pull all this stuff, and you just make it resilient, you make it scalable and future proof. And usually that goes into reading the player's inputs. If I translate to the game stuff, like what does the player do and how that's a perfect idea. I don't know if
I actually have a background in automation as well. Before I did games, I did
your Google
desktop and
House.
web automation.
Yeah, you automated your house.
We're doing something sort of kind of like for Heartlands, our character generation area. It looks at how the player plays based on different areas in the game, and it's actually going to generate a class for the player based on how
Say
they
that
play.
again? Say that again.
Which part?
That whole little spiel there. That was
Oh.
awesome.
So for Heartlands, they're in the character generation section. The entire level is set up in a way that, depending on what actions the player takes, it's going to generate a class based on how you play. So if you go through and you decide to avoid the first area, you'll be given two options, or you decide to pick up a weapon and fight these people first, then it's like a tick mark. It's like
You're putting a pin in all their actions and saying they play like a rogue. We're gonna
Exactly.
Make them stealthy. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Nice.
So that's the
I mean,
kind of stuff like.
at least that's how it's supposed to work. It's not there yet, but it's on the way.
But
That's
what
the
that
idea.
says to me is like, you've eroded an entire need for a menu based on how you design the game. It's
Yeah,
because
I
don't
mean,
wanna go
we're
through
also
and
still
pick a
going to let the
birth
player. We're still going to let the player make a custom class if they want to, based on scrolls and stuff. You'll be at the end, and they'll be like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And if not, you'll be like, "No, I prefer this skill and this skill." But
right, and that's perfectly fine because when I start a new character in Skyrim, I'm like, you know what? It's going to be sword and shield or magic. I never do magic. I start magic, and I'm always picking up a bow and I'm sneaking. I don't know
Right.
why.
you're a stealth
Right.
archer. Everyone devolves to a stealth archer.
Yep.
Right. So like
Very true.
at the end of that game, your scroll could say, "You say this, but you do this." Like, sure. But what that says is like, if you did that right, and then maybe this is just pipe dreaming, but you could go through and you wouldn't have to have that character config panel, because like when I first played Skyrim, I'm like, oh god, I forgot this was Elder Scrolls. I got to pick a star sign. I don't know what the fuck that, whatever. And I got to pick a backstory. I was the loneliest kid at the orphanage. I'll pick that one. Sometimes you just want to get through all that jibba jabber,
Right.
and then just saying, how do you play? That's, you guys are at those two options right there. Like,
I mean, Oblivion did that. Oblivion is in my opinion, the greatest game that's ever been made. Goofy conversations and all. But it did that with its character generation section. Depending on how you played the game, like at the end, Boris would be like, "You look like an assassin to me," or something like that,
mm-hmm.
And you could choose that, or you could create your own thing.
my
Yeah, that's
PC's
what
Most
I
people
mean
create
when
their
you're
own
talking
thing,
about
though.
your system. Yeah.
my PCs for that one were always a potato. I'd get like an Oblivion gate, and it just shut down, and I don't remember
Yeah.
anything about it. I loved it, but I was like, I need more.
Has anyone ever thought of creating a game, and bear with me here, because and we keep going back to Xbox, and I apologize, I know it's VR podcast, but it's good examples. There was a point in time last generation where, tablets and phone apps, companion apps were a hot thing.
Right.
What could you feasibly make like just say an RPG game where like you're playing in VR, you do all the stuff, but once you get out of VR, you could then do all the inventory and all the menial crap like on your lunch break. Next time you get in the headset, you don't have to deal with that shit, and you can just play the game.
I mean, you could do that. It seems like
That's
a pretty
what
good
I would
idea,
want
but that's
Yeah,
outside
right.
my area of expertise. All the networking
Right.
crap that would entail.
Yeah, and companion apps like do any of us actually use companion apps for anything?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
I tried.
Like,
I
it's-
loved the idea.
If
right.
if they're
like
done
they're
well,
a good
I
idea,
did,
but
like,
they're poor execution.
right. The Assassin's Creed Black Flag had like the little mini games on there, and they were dumb, but I used it a lot, and they had.
Yeah, I
maps
remember
and
Star Wars
stuff.
Battlefront
okay.
had something like that, where it was like
Yeah.
a mini game on your phone where you got stuff in the console game or the PC game, and then it was vice versa. And then,
You
but
can go
yeah,
nuts with,
I
like-
didn't even know about it until like way later.
And then what had a good one? Like Red Dead 2 has I mean, that's Rockstar money, but they had their little app. You can order stuff from their little catalog. If you played that game, you got like the old timey
Cool.
everything like company store catalog. You can order that on your phone, and it shows up in your mailbox in the game, like in 30
That's
seconds.
cool.
There's stuff like that, and maybe the usage isn't there. But like if I got to go take a growler at work or something, it'd be nice to go get rid of some of that Skyrim inventory.
Yeah.
I mean, my game.
Just
I don't know if you,
barfing in the
Justin
blank
and
there.
Johnny, remember I tweeted about wanting to do like a phone thing for my menu in my game. And then
Nice.
I thought about doing like a companion app where, so my game's a very like, it's like almost date simmy levels of character. And so you're going around talking to all these characters, and I thought about having like a companion app that would just be like a social media for my game. So like you would see like the in-game characters, what they're doing in their day, and you can
That's a cool
interact with
idea.
them on your phone.
Yeah, that's a
Like
really
that.
good idea.
But that's just something we're kind of like tossing around or whatever.
Yeah.
It might suck, but we'll see.
I mean, if we're talking about, it's hard to make a menu or set up options and controls that are too expensive or time consuming. The companion app is kind of like up there by Jason Harrison, a little on out the park.
Yeah.
He's stage diving, over
Right.
there. But
Right.
Get those big dogs.
crowd surfing. Oh, we should ask for that. Crowd surfing. In Spatial Ape. But I know that a lot of my stuff like is usually the same old stuff. Again, PJ said we keep going back to Xbox, but Xbox console games, PC games have had how many decades to hone this stuff, and they're still kind of like,
Right.
we don't have to because we got your money anyway, and it's sort of
Right.
okay.
What do you guys think of like we'll say I don't know how Heartlands works yet, but I kill an enemy, he drops some loot. Say if it's like a sword, I pick up the sword and I can press A or B, A to keep it, B to mark it as junk type of thing. And it just goes into a special spot. Then when you get to a vendor, you sell all the junk because like a lot of games do that really well. And I don't know why it's not a standard in flat gaming.
I mean,
But-
I personally don't like junk marking because like in an RPG, for instance, there's a lot of stuff that is like junk by default, and then there's stuff that isn't. Like like in Oblivion, like the hourglass in that game is 100% junk. You can't even get money for it. But I collect them because something is wrong with me, and I just throw them in my house.
You got like a wall, an hourglass made
Yes,
of
there's
hourglasses.
hundreds of them. The player walks through and there's just hourglasses flying everywhere. It's fantastic. But like how Heartlands works is like if you kill an enemy and you grab his body, no one knows this yet because it's new, but whatever. You grab something and an inventory flies out around them as well.
Nice.
So you can just grab something and what you want to keep, you press A and you put it in your inventory, or you just leave it there. And if you want to take it with you, like the selling, you have to. This is one of those situations where like, where's the line between realism, and annoying inventory management.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
you
It's not
actually
fun.
have
It's
to
not fun.
in Heartland, like if I wanted to sell this coffee cup, you would have to go into your inventory, grab the coffee cup, and slam it on a table and be like, "Hey, I want to sell this." And then timer counts down, and then you sell it. That's just how it works. I mean,
I dig that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like the
I don't know
sound
if
of
that
that.
answers the question.
It borders into game design too, because some games are just like everything you don't want just gets converted into some sort of
Yeah.
currency right then and there. And
Yeah.
some games are like Red Dead, where you have to skin the fucking coyote,
Right.
like
Yeah.
manually watch your guts. and
It's what
stuff.
level of that kind of interaction do you want? Like
Yeah.
I could mark everything as junk, and then as soon as you go into like a general trader, it would just sell it. But what if there are psychos out there like me who want to collect every hourglass?
And don't
Yeah.
mark it as junk. Don't you just not mark it as junk if you don't want to sell it?
I
Right?
guess you could.
I mean, if
Well-
it's, I'm confused.
I get that too, but like,
No, you could do that.
so if you
Not
play
quite my
games like
design.
other like early access games, like that Valheim game that came out earlier this year, and people love that game. It's fun. I played it.
Mhm.
But then people mod it to add in that stuff. So like you gotta repair each one of your items. There's like a workbench and then like a forge for metal items. You got to go to one and repair a few things and run. You got to tap repair a few things, and then somebody makes a mod that says as soon as you walk near one of those things, you hear, and if they're all repaired.
Yeah,
Do
I
some
mean,
people
but
like
that-
to hit that? Some people don't. I don't know.
But that damages the gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
know. I
like
think,
they're like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
It-
it
game
damages
design
the
issues.
gameplay. I mean, like if it's part of the core design, like you have to manually go and repair stuff. It's part of what makes the game whole. If that makes
Yeah.
any sense. Like trust me, I love automation, but you can't just automate away everything because then what the hell is the core of the game?
You've got an auto simulation
I mean,
because like yeah.
I don't know. It's if your core of your game is like just crafting weapons, and I think not everyone's gonna enjoy that, but there are elements of that game that people will enjoy, and I don't think that if some people do it, then some people don't. It's I don't know. Is it good design if it's if it's something that people have found a way to automate away, like crafting in Animal Crossing? I hate it. It's garbage. Everything about that is the most awful thing I've ever felt in my entire life. But Nintendo is so set in their ways that they will never change it. They don't care. They think people don't know what they're talking about, and it's just
Yeah.
I don't play Animal Crossing. It's like whatever, man. I don't know. I think those like if I can still play the game and have fun, I don't think it ruins it.
Yeah, it's all about
It depends
fun,
on
'cause,
how
like,
core it really is,
right. If the repairing of the item is you like in VR, you pick up a hammer and you're fixing it, I can
Yeah.
see that being super fun. But if they try to make
Yeah.
it more minutia in real life and you
Mhm.
got to deal with the horrors of being a Valheim Viking, but then everything's just a goddamn button click that's behind some sort of grind wall because you have to get 300 pieces of something to build
I mean, a good example of like a middle ground is have you guys played Kingdom Come Deliverance?
No.
I like
Yeah.
that
Oh
game.
yeah,
little
I
bit.
played that one. That one's pretty good.
So the alchemy system in that game is incredibly detailed, and to some degree, it's really cool. But then after you make like your 7th potion, you're like, this fucking blows. But then eventually,
Yeah,
you get the
it's like-
ability to just auto create a potion.
Mhm.
It's a good middle ground, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to add artificial pacing, crafting, then
Yeah.
that's like that sounds good to me. If you just do it at the start, but they give them options later.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, and back to the thing about like inventory management, like adding everything as junk. Like part of like an RPG is inventory management. In general. I mean, it used to be a lot worse when you could only hold like 99 slots or whatever than it is now. But
You
there's
had, like,
something.
the 12.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
there's something about having to make the choice between do I want to keep this iron sword or do I want to keep this healing potion? Like, there's something to be said about those two choices. Or do I want to keep this hourglass that's useless or do I want to keep this, potion, There's something there where if you just mark everything mindlessly as junk, I think that does take something away.
All right.
Yeah.
I kind of
If that
feel
makes any
like
sense.
there's like a level of friction almost, right? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
expected, right? Like, and
Yeah,
it's so
something like that.
weird. Like, Yeah, I definitely feel like Animal Crossing is a great example because Animal Crossing is so. At times, it feels really unnecessarily tedious. But one day, I had to think
really
about
does.
like, but if it wasn't tedious, what would I be doing instead? And I kind of came at a loss, right? And so it's like
the game didn't have that. Yeah.
right. So it's like I think there's almost a necessary level of friction, but it's different for every game, right? So it's hard to.
And like
But
everything
it's
else in
like-
software, it
Like a
depends.
cop out. It's
Like walking through the
Fair.
tall grass.
we
of
couldn't
Pokemon is
create
annoying,
we
but,
couldn't create
that's the part of
engaging
the game.
content. So we just made you craft items all.
Right.
I think it's
What would you
awesome.
guys think of? Sorry, in VR, I'm just gonna say Heartlands because it's your game. What if you had like, I don't know what you do with the inventory now if you put it in a backpack, whatever. What if you had a second one, like a air quotes junk pouch, where like you pick this item up, you know you want nothing to put it in there. This item I don't know, put it in there, and then you can sort that later. Would that be?
I mean, that's really no different than a button, though, is it? I mean, like my other designer, actually Nathan, he had the exact same idea. What if we have like a pouch on this hip for like items you want to keep, and a pouch on this hip for like things that you want to get rid of? But like adding something to the inventory is just as simple as a button press, and it should be because it feels less less like friction,
From my point of view, like especially in VR, like I want to get and do the fun parts. Some people fun parts are different, but that with that system, that person who likes to do whatever, they could put it all in one. But I could just take that sack, put it on that table, and it just sells. And
yeah,
then,
I mean, there's something
and then for
to
the
be
other
said
person,
about that.
they could just sort it throughout how they like to. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
Yeah,
That's a really
the
good
fun of
idea.
being a VR dev. Everybody has their favorite preference, and then you just have
Yeah,
to build
I mean,
your own
right.
preferences.
It's a
and you don't have
reasonable
to
Exactly.
you ran out of development time and money.
Right.
We had to shut down because we couldn't fit the inventory needs of PJ.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
saying this
it's,
is like one. Not saying you specifically, but like, damn it.
I mean, it's just like it's bonkers if you think about how different everyone wants something to be.
Yeah.
It's worse than anything on console or any, everyone just has so many.
It's kind of like why the idea of like the metaverse is kind of insane because how the hell are we ever going to agree as an industry on anything?
Right.
Everyone has their different design. If everything was the same, like every game would feel the same.
Well, if you don't fall in line, you'll be in Facebook jail. That's how it's going to work. But
Well, we're all gonna be there anyway at some point.
Fair.
Facebook jail. What the- Just take me
That
out
was a
back
joke,
and
Wookie.
hit me with a shovel right now. Sorry. No. As far as inventory goes, the only person. Well, it sounds like the medieval designer has a lot of cool stuff in managing the inventory. But for like flat gaming, the only game that's ever done anything to add on, like here's inventory, how everybody does it. They're usually different flavors, the same kind of ice cream. But like Monster Hunter World had like these little go bags. Like you put in your little equipment and you save a template. And every time you go back, you click that and then it pulls from your storage and puts those little things and refills your bag with just that stuff. So you can throw all your crap in your storage, push a button, you've got that set of, I'm chasing down a T-Rex or I'm chasing down a pterodactyl or whatever.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
just like
go.
pre-configured gear for certain
Right.
things.
You make
Okay,
your little
yeah.
template, your little go bag, and you have like 3 or 4 or 6 of those, and you just go boop, done, and out, and you're out. And I was like, I got a boner.
Yeah, I get it.
The
I get
inventory
it.
boner. Like, this game respects my time. As much as it doesn't respect it later, it totally disrespected it later when it took.
I don't
want
want to sit by Wookiee anymore.
1 month. More room for me. But that was like the only innovation I had seen in a long time. That was just like it got rid of the
I see the
question
dongle.
and just said, "Here you go. Here's stuff," and that was great. I got pants on.
Bye. That's
But yeah,
yeah,
like-
son.
And that game is only in the last, I don't know,
You're
5,
doing
4
VR
years.
wrong.
For like,
Oh, I like pants.
how many years has it been since like Diablo 2? When you were saying you got like, your 99 slots, Diablo 2, you had like 12 slots, and I think you had to like fit your stuff. Like a sword was 3 by 2, and
Yeah.
it took up so many.
Old stuff.
It took us like that all the way to Monster Hunter World to get that gig bag or that go bag button, that bug out bag thing. And I was like, damn
I
it.
think it kind of like, and I think that kind of, I mean, we're all like gamers and game devs, right? But I definitely think, I think sometimes people don't realize, like, when I play other games, it's almost homework. Like, I'm sure you guys have played something,
It
and then
is.
something strikes you, and it's like this, like, you figure out where you need to take your game based off something that another game did, right? It's
I can't
a
play
wild-
any game anymore without thinking about how they did something.
right? Right.
It's kind of
Play
unfortunate,
games.
actually.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Dude, I honestly don't. I don't really play many games anymore. Actually, I just kind of like. I don't know. Don't enjoy it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a gamer.
No, that's cool.
It's,
I'd say
it feels
about
like
10-15% of the devs we talk to, they don't play games anymore, either from having a headset on all day working or just they got to do something else. So it makes sense.
I mean, it's fair, you know. I
It
mean,
is.
like,
Yeah, I feel like though I feel like I should play some more VR games and stuff like that because I don't want to make the same mistakes as other devs, but I also don't want to be as maybe influenced and make mistakes that I don't know that they're mistakes, you know, by seeing their mistakes.
That's a perfect point.
Type of thing.
Other stuff.
that's fair.
Yeah, because like I'm tinkering around with writing a novel, so I use inspiration from Neil Gaiman that says the type of novel you want to write, don't read that. Read other stuff. Read a bunch of other stuff. And then you read podcasts about people who make their living as writers. They're like, you got to read everything that the style of your writing because you don't want to make the same mistakes they did. But I'm like that. Like I don't want to be influenced by.
Yeah, I don't want to be as. I mean,
Crap.
But luckily for me, I'm not a solo dev, and I have my game, my lead programmer for my game, and he's the guy who plays all the games and tells me like my ideas are. You know, they're like that doesn't work in VR. No one wants to use a cell phone for a menu. You know,
That's
Like-
bullshit.
I know
I would
it's
love
bullshit.
to use that.
I made a Twitter poll just to prove him wrong the other day, and it was like almost 100%. Yeah, we want to use a phone. Like, I'm holding it right here, like I'm holding the phone, and I'm like, I could definitely see, you know, if the phone was big, right, and my fingers.
Right.
And this isn't too bad. I mean,
Why am I short now? What happened?
you've been
Oh, you
demoted.
fell on the floor.
PJ, just so you know, my power blipped and came back on. I don't know how I still stayed connected, but my recorder's gone.
Oh, okay.
Why am I short?
Shot.
What happened?
But what happened?
You
What
don't
happened
need
to
to set that
what
back up.
happened to what happened to Justin? Did
I was
Oh,
curious. too.
Vanished.
he just disappeared, and I didn't notice.
You want me to set that back up? I might have even lost that recording. So, FYI,
If it's not hard, it wouldn't hurt, but
I'll take a
Phone
snap.
menus.
But to the phone menu, one thing,
Yeah.
I would argue that the phone menu is always a great idea, and that came about in like another Grand Theft Auto game, like GTA 4.
Mhm.
How come I could drive around at full speed in that game and GTA 5 and then manage an entire game's menu in a phone and not hit another car?
Yeah.
That was fantastic. Like that,
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah, I think
I was
There
gonna
you
say
go.
Dance Central does it really well too. I think.
yeah,
like,
that's the one
phone
you told
UI.
me to look at. Looking at it. Yeah, but the other he's like he's doing some exorcist shit up there. But like, I think another weird thing about developing is that because I'm still relatively new as a developer. Right? I've only been doing this for a few years, and I think that like you have to like put time and effort to build something to know that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
that's why you see in VR like a lot of unproven, like a lot of ideas that people might not have explored or bad ideas. You know, they spent the time developing it, and they're like, "Shit, we spent all this time developing it. It doesn't really work." But oh well, we're out of time. You know, let's put it in. I just think that it's like this catch-22 thing. Like you don't know if it's good until you do it, but if you do it and it's not good, you've just wasted so much time.
Absolutely.
And like especially for me, getting people to getting anyone to play your demo, to like play test it, like getting you gamers out there to play test your demo is so hard sometimes.
Yeah, it's
And to get like meaningful feedback.
it's ridiculously hard to like give away a game because like I have game codes to give away and
Mhm.
it's hard enough to do that. It's like what the hell?
Yeah, and I find that people just don't they don't want to be given something. They want to like discover it themselves a lot of times. You know, like if someone recommends me music, I usually won't listen to it. You know,
Yeah.
but if I had found that same band, I would have listened to it, you know, a million times and loved it or something. But yeah, it's hard out here. What's up?
Hello.
Did you try?
Got
Did
on
you
me.
try my demo, Justin? Hmm?
I have not tried your demo yet.
Okay, you're dead to me. You're dead, dead.
I've watched like
tried-
every video clip though. So
I
think
tried your
know.
demo today just because I felt guilty.
I know I feel guilty too, but
I've played everyone's
Return.
game here more than at least an hour or more.
Wow. How?
There you go.
My
sorry.
game's like
That's
5
a
minutes.
hero.
How?
Mine's like
I've
7.
replayed it.
Oh,
I
wow.
replayed it.
Thank-
We've done it.
I've sat
Thank you.
through the kitchen thing like 4 or 5 times. It's awesome, dude. I love it.
Great. But it's hard though. It is hard to get people to actually play though. It's like, and that's why I think that's why you'll see a lot of mistakes being made, because like you could have like QA people inside like a bigger VR studio, like maybe even the people in Call of Duty, but a lot of people are a little afraid to like say, oh, this is bad. You know, they don't give.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
a lot
that's
of
an example of
honest-
what happened with like Sniper Elite made the same mistakes as Medal of Honor, and that's a huge
Yeah.
AAA thing, you know.
Isn't that AAA?
You know,
I'm not shooting any low on. I think
debatable.
like it's hard to make a game, man. Like I just I don't know.
Yeah, agreed.
Like,
Yeah,
I
clearly.
feel hard. I feel bad. Like hard.
I'm
to
losing
knock
my hair.
on- Yeah, dude. I'm going bald soon too. Like putting my headset on and off is like definitely my hairline has increased. Let's put it that way. Sigh.
Sigh.
So I don't know. I feel like it's really this whole stuff is hard, and I don't think people understand. You know
Yeah.
And
how much goes into.
that was a lot of the reason when we started talking to devs. I'm like, that's one of the main reasons we talk to you guys on our podcast, because I want to hear all that background and all the stuff you guys go through and share it, because
Yeah.
10 years ago I didn't like, well, this game sucks and I don't want to play that, and it's just like, well, that's not right. Someone put a lot of time into that.
Yeah, I mean,
So then I
obviously-
kind of came back around and like, I'll pretty much play anything and find something good in it, and along with the bad.
I mean, there are games that have been kind of made, not in say bad faith, but like, corporate entities cause things to not be as good as what they could be. But the people working on them, for the most part, trying their best with what they have.
Right.
Yeah, it's always a bummer when gamers go on a hate raid or whatever, a rant, and I had a friend who had worked on Fallout 76, all right, and just knowing how hard him and the team worked on it, and then seeing the internet destroy it, right? Like, it's just tough.
Yeah.
I will give no quarter to that game. Just saying.
No, it's a disaster.
I'm
It's
not
a
here to
disaster.
defend it. Not
Sorry,
here to
it
defend
is.
it,
Yeah,
but
it's awful.
but
I've got friends who play it, and I'm like, I haven't tried it, and it's like, what do you? Just I always interview. I'm like, what do you see in it?
I don't really get multiplayer games, to be honest. Like, no.
yeah, I mean, I'll play them. Like when I played Star Wars Galaxies, I was like the most loneliest person in that game.
I play Halo. That's all I'll play multiplayer. Like anything else, nah, I'm good.
still
Weird. I
trying to figure
only
out how
play
to
multiplayer games with them. That's like,
That's why I haven't done any of the raids like in Destiny recently. Like, I can't find people to play with. And I remember when I used to do them, it would be like, oh, it was like an hour waiting like for like person number 6 to like hop in.
Yeah.
Like, so much friction. Like,
Yeah.
can't we just get matchmaking? That's why I actually like playing Payday 2. I like that game in VR because I can just hop in and say I want to play, and it finds me 2 or 3 people, whoever the full party is ever get to play with.
The
Yeah, I think
gameplay,
if
I
there's
like
VR
that game
games
too, but
definitely want ones with like no friction. Matchmaking is what will get me to
Yeah.
play it.
I think Destiny 1's the last time our friend crew was like in one place at one time in a game.
oh wow,
It's funny. It's been a while.
So I don't know how long you guys want to talk. We've been going almost an hour and a half.
oh wow.
If this worked for everyone, like I don't mind doing it again. Whatever you guys feel, but if you want to keep going, that's cool too. Just throwing it out there.
I mean, I could talk about VR design stuff all day.
Right.
I think it'd be fun to in future. I don't even know if we need to limit it to like just talking about UI. We could talk about like
Right.
any aspect, like
Yes.
whatever's fun to talk about.
Whatever
Like,
It's
pops
fun to
in
have a
mind.
topic that's
Shader
going to spiral
stuff.
out.
character AI,
Yeah.
whatever,
Let's give
It
it
would
like
be
a more
fun.
interesting name though, because when
Yeah.
UI is exciting, but when you hear like, oh, they're gonna talk about UI, like, people are like, what is this like?
And we're gonna talk about the best practices.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that when we were pitching the idea earlier, and I was like, oh wait, It's a little ambitious of us to think that.
No one else is doing it.
Yeah, no, I think.
Obviously.
No, I think it would be just fun to just talk about anything VR game dev related, and the struggles, the pain.
Yeah.
I'd love to
Pain,
rant
the
about
midnight
artificial.
crying in the shower because you can't solve a bug. All that.
Yeah,
Yeah, all that. I'd
All
love
that.
to rant about AI.
yeah.
Oh,
How your mental
AI.
health
Oh
rides
my
on
God.
the functionality of your game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
so
we-
like
Hear that
whenever-
rant about AI.
Go ahead.
I see there's a lot of potential with what we could do with this. Just having devs. And it could be even interesting to have like even gamers come in and just chat to us and ask us questions, like grill a dev. Just be like, why do you guys do this, or why do you do that? We can.
I mean, isn't there enough of that on Twitter?
Yeah, it is, but it's like it's not as personal because you're not just talking to them. You don't see them as a person. They're just
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little more
Yeah.
personal. Plus,
I would.
maybe
I would-
they shouldn't have it on App Lab. This is kind of a litmus test just to get people in here.
I would.
Yeah.
I would
Get-
hate to
get
be on
in
the
here.
other end of all the stuff Anton receives. I'm sure you guys have
Oh,
seen
poor
his Twitter
Anton.
account.
Anton.
Poor Anton.
He likes
he's
it
a
though. He
trooper.
always shares all his opinions, so people.
Yeah,
can argue with him.
he's very opinionated and very jaded, but
He's definitely the grumpiest guy on VR Twitter. That's for sure.
definitely, yeah.
But I love his takes.
Somebody needs to
though.
make
It's
him an
always
award.
funny. Yeah.
Just
To
one
that
for
point,
him.
though, we've had, I was hoping for a little audience. We got Jason still up there, but we've had people in our audience, and they've actually
Oh, no.
more than once, as we're talking to Dev, we're like, hey, you got anything to add? They've added it, and the Dev is always like, that's a really fucking good idea, and they go with it. So it
Yeah.
wouldn't hurt.
I mean, it's
I thought
really
you said he
nice
rushed
to
the
be able to
stage.
talk to other devs.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, we
I
were
mean-
just having like a super nerdy conversation about collision, the colliders, and the ray and
Right.
tracing bit right there earlier.
Yeah.
I feel like some people were like, "What the fuck are these guys talking about?"
My sphere of other developers is pretty small outside of Twitter. So
I
Yeah.
think
And
that
that's
more nerdy talk is fun for us.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And we've heard that many times. Like, we'll have a guest on, a dev, and they'll be like, you guys are the first person I've talked to in like 6 months. It's like, holy shit. You need a support group.
That's depressing.
It is depressing.
So,
I don't know. I think
I
we
would-
got. I have no idea what I was going to say now.
I wouldn't mind setting up like a second recording day during the week if you guys wanted to fill that spot. We can try to
whatever, like,
record it all.
I had
doesn't have to be weekly. It could be once a month. Whatever you guys want to do, we're here to help and do this. And
I'm curious about one thing I was curious about if we did more stuff in the future. It would be nice to be able to have examples to show up on here or something. Like if we had the ability, like if there was someone on your team or someone from you guys that was like controlling like a thing that we could talk about. Like if I'm talking about Anton
Like a
stuff, we
PowerPoint
just pull up. We
presentation.
pull up not even like a PowerPoint. Just some guy who's like controlling what shows up on here, and then
yeah,
have,
we're
like,
the
if
Spatial
we
Ape
talk about
guys are
Anton,
working
we'll
on
show
that
Anton,
and allowing control of it. Right now, like, we could do like different screens down the wall and stuff, and kind of like
just like
go
we
over
have
there
a
and talk
walk,
about
we
that.
can like have a walk and talk or
Yeah.
whatever, and just like pick the
That'd
crap and just like. Hey,
Yeah, but
man,
right now,
we
yeah, they're
talked
just on
about this
loops.
over here.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that game is bad. We don't want to do. Let's not talk about it. Forget it, guys.
Forget it.
That could be.
I
I mean,
we
that
just
could
need
be
to get them
fun.
our stuff before Thursday,
would-
huh?
yeah.
When the new build goes up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a
But
problem.
yeah,
though, 'cause
we can bring assets in, like in-game assets.
In videos.
And I think starting next week, they're gonna those little like areas over there. Those are like
Yeah.
non-spatial audio private channels. They're gonna make our whole booth like that, so there's not the spatial stuff.
oh, cool.
So when you walk over here, like you just did,
I was
you
wondering what those
still
things
hear
were.
me talking.
Oh, the trees.
that'll help.
Yeah, the trees are like little like chat trees or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I don't know, the setup in here is really nice. Like, there's a lot they could do to make it better, but I'm pretty happy with this. One of the
Yeah,
coolest
it's-
places I've been in VR.
Yep.
For,
They have a-
social stuff.
I've been
Common.
admiring
They
have
that
a
plant
roadmap.
back there. No, so. I was like, yeah, this is
They have a
kinda
roadmap,
nice.
and they tweak something for us at least once a week, and so it's slowly getting there. Like they want to give us like lighting and audio and video, and so
The table was crooked. They fixed
Yeah.
that. It was driving me nuts.
Yeah, I think just like a weekly, like casual chat about just being a VR dev or just VR dev stuff, would be fun. I would enjoy it.
Yeah,
Cool.
me
Yeah,
I
too.
would too. Yeah.
Or bi-weekly
Sounds
or
great.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds
I like
good.
and
We'll
we,
just,
I'd like to like it'd be also fun to like you could check in on the progress of everybody's game, like how's Johnny doing, making
Yeah.
making any
Like an accountability buddy system.
Yeah, well, not like that.
Like I stay up late. I
Did you
gotta
get your
this
shading
done.
done, Johnny? Did you get your
Yeah.
shading done this week?
They're gonna
Stress.
Sounds like more stress.
Yeah, it sounds like more stress.
I'm
For
sorry, I
making, like, a
apologize.
sort
deadlines.
Awesome. It took
Alright,
me forever to
sounds
figure
good.
out how.
Yeah.
I did it. I'm on top of the.
He's
Yeah, dude.
dancing.
Take your Tic Tacs off.
Got weird up in here.
I can put a custom
Sorry.
model, can I? Do
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, do a Ready Player Me
thing
thing.
out of your picture.
I didn't want to let a computer see my face, so I just was in the character creator, so I kind of look plastic. You guys all look like you have personalities and faces, and I'm just like biker.
I think it
shit.
did a pretty good job of capturing me. I was impressed by Ready Player Me actually.
Me too. My wife was like, "Oh, you look Middle Eastern." I'm like, "Yeah, but besides that, it looks like me."
Yeah, gotta go a little off.
Besides that, it's
Step
Just
around
a
the
small
obvious.
giant detail,
Small-
oh god,
It's a little
We get
glaring.
canceled.
Bug.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll
Yeah, that was fun.
make a little private chat on Twitter so we can all throw whatever you guys want to do in there and make it work.
Yeah, sounds good. It was a fun podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
for
good
having
stuff.
us.
Yeah, thanks for
Anytime.
setting this up, dude.
We enjoy it.
Thanks for letting
I
me
understood.
interject, even though I wasn't really scheduled to be here.
No.
I was
Thanks
like,
for
who's
letting
this
me-
random guy? I didn't know. I had no idea.
Thanks for letting me live vicariously through you guys. Like I said, I've got a game design background. I've just been doing other
Yeah.
automation things, and I spike into it once in a while. But it's nice to hear all these updated concepts.
It's never
that
too
we
late
get
to start, you know.
It really is never too late. To
It's still
start.
got
No.
like the stuff in progress, but it's like it's there. I like to hear all these like, oh, I didn't think of that, like lighting techniques and all this. Stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many tricks
Yep.
So many.
we're developing on this potato of a system.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Should do a thing about future VR hardware.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be fun.
I gotta read over
Imagine
my
if
NDA
Google
before we
actually,
have
you know,
one.
gets their head
Yeah,
out of their
can't
ass
talk about. Yeah,
and
we
makes
got.
a headset.
I don't want to get sued. I can't comment on anything. Sucks.
No comment.
No comments.
That's the name of the
That's the name of the podcast.
commentary. No
Right.
comment.
Yeah, no
No
comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say anything. Yeah.
Welcome to this week's no comment. I plead the fifth. Have a nice day.
Today I'm working on hardware I can't tell you about.
Future though, I promise.
Yeah.
We-
You'll probably
we can
see it
tell
in like
you.
5 years. It's all good.
It's all
tell
Damn,
you,
that's
but
some
we already
that's
wanna
some
kill you.
super future shit.
Hey man. Can't talk about it.
Robert's 3 games out. You guys don't understand.
I know, dude. He's so far ahead, man.
I'm not even
Right.
just, not even really a joke.
Oh,
It's a
jeez.
problem. I don't sleep at night.
I sleep a
It's
lot.
laughter, pain.
It's great. Well, speaking of pain, I guess I'm gonna head out.
All right. Well, this is great, guys. Thanks for-
All right, yeah, for sure.
Wait, how do I
That's
even
later.
leave? What do I press a button? You guys, I swear I know
What's
how to
this
use
CD
VR.
develop on?
Just watching.
Dude, I may be making a VR game, but I have no
You
idea.
just
what I'm
used
doing.
side quest for the first time today.
Yeah, today is the first time I used side quests. I had the.
How do you ever install builds on your headset then?
All right.
I have a program.
Well, granted, I just use the Oculus developer tools to install it.
I have a
He's
guy.
like,
I
I'm
have
a
a
designer.
guy.
Someone else
I
can
know a
do it.
guy.
Ooh, Mr. Fancy with more than one guy.
I got a
Oh, I
guy
know.
for that. Guy. 3%er piece of.
It's embarrassing. I know. I feel bad. I'm like shit. I'm like
Next week
I
on
try-
No
I've been do-
Comment, no demo.
no Diva.
Right.
Dude, I tried for an hour to get this to work, and it took me forever.
This next week, does he have a character set or does he still a pillbox?
Is he still Tic Tac?
So,
And the Unity Cube.
Come in with that old school 3D Studio Max like teapot or whatever,
Right.
was, like the old school. And be like, how'd you do
Yeah.
that? I don't know. I
How'd you
got a
do
guy
that?
for that.
Unity monkey for a head and 2 donuts for hands.
I would not be able to concentrate.
It's a torse. Good stuff.
Man, good times. All right.
You need help getting down, Jason?
I know the way.
I don't know if I want him to take the spatial audio out because it was funny when Demo went over there. When you're like, nope, it's like just slightly quiet made it sound really funny.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. This has been super entertaining. I've been
Yeah,
cracking up
anytime.
while muted. So, especially when Justin started invading Demon's space. Demon's like backing up, and it was great.
Probably a good thing
And
we don't
then-
actually have bodies in here, you know.
Wookiee's spinning head while he was fixing the camera. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for coming and hanging out.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, I'm a great example of you're never too old. I'm 51 and just doing VR dev.
That's
Nice.
awesome. Congrats.
I've been
Yeah.
on and off doing Unity development since 2011. I just
My
spike up.
condolences.
Yeah, I spike up.
My
When somebody's saying
condolences.
you play another game and you use it as like research, like you're
Right.
doing homework. I played some spaceship game in 2010 or 11, some black something or other. And I was like, I like how the spaceships feel. I'm going to rip it off. So over a
Right.
weekend, I ripped it off in Unity. It's perfect.
Well, yeah.
Never touched it again. Like I couldn't have made that into something.
It is.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
The best, what is it? The best form of flattery is imitation or something like that.
Yep.
Blatant-
Needless to
blatant
say,
thievery.
you guys will be the first two that try out my shooter because you guys like Halo as well. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do it.
I'm like always talking about Halo.
I'll be,
Yeah.
I'll be the
love Halo.
first one to
It's such
try
a-
to eat the bullet. Like, does this work?
I told Justin, I'm like, you ever need a break? Let's just play some Halo. Like,
I'm always up for that.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, that's what I do for downtime is I play Halo.
nice.
share gamer tags. I'm fine. If you need like a squad of 4, we got 6 people.
Yeah, usually just me and my wife. So yeah.
Well,
All right,
awesome.
this was fun, guys.
Yeah. Until next time.
Next time.
Next time.
All right,
It's nice to meet you all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Keep
Just
up the
kinda
good work,
fade
all of
into
you.
the wall here, I guess.
I honestly enjoy every game I've played.
If I can, maybe.
Aw.
Nope, won't let me do that.
DJ, where do I hit you up for that key?
Just message me on Twitter.
Okay, I will.
I know I'm following you. I don't know if you're following me, but either way.
I am. We are
Make
jointly
sure
following.
make sure it's one of the Oculus keys, not the itch.io keys. Nobody wants those.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
And you can message me if you have questions about the game itself.
Who's talking?
Robert.
Into the wall.
I know.
Oh, am I in the wall? Awesome.
You finally made it into the wall, so I thought I would play along.
Where am I now?
Now you're in the
Hit
middle
me
of
up
the
if
table.
Robert?
you have any
Are you
questions.
there?
You're just like smooth. Like text
Definitely
support.
a Bart Simpson into the bushes moment.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Anyway,
I don't know what I'm doing.
so
now.
yeah, I'll message you.
Awesome.
So, thanks everybody.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
We'll see you later. Hey, but real quick, What's my audio level like? Is it too loud? Because I'm wearing a
No.
headset with a mic, so I don't know how. It's
No, you're
coming through.
perfect.
Everybody was fine. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
cool.
been so good in here.
He's
We
in
used
the
to use
fucking
like
plant.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, hide and seek game. We need a hide and seek
Right?
game
Yeah,
in
we
VR.
I fit in this. I bet
Oh,
I could fit in this
absolutely.
speaker.
We
Maybe
need
I
we
should-
need a way to turn off the names and then just
Yeah.
find people's heads in the places.
maybe it'll be my break in into VR will be a VR hide and seek game. It's because
There you go.
I know we need it.
We need it definitely.
The audio level's been so good in here that we used to have like condenser mics and headsets. We switched to this, and I just use the Oculus. Sounds
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
I'm
put
always
on my
afraid I'm too
headset
loud.
because I have fans and stuff going on in here, and I was afraid of the noise being
No,
interference.
that's-
So
That's the
Haven't
awesome.
heard a
Like
thing.
he was just saying, when we were doing audio only, we use these really nice mics, and I'd have to shut my door, turn the air conditioner
Uh-huh.
off, and I get 90 in here. Now I have
Oh, yeah.
everything's up and running. Probably can't hear it. So
that's good to know. I won't next time. I won't wear the headset because the headphones because the headset is heavy enough by itself.
yeah.
yeah, go for it.
Cool.
All
Good
right,
to
guys.
know.
I'm gonna disappear back into this plant, and I'll see you guys later.
All right.
Don't eat it. It looks poisonous.
Careful. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep. See ya.
See ya.
Ciao.